Today's topic is going to accelerate your career more than most as a creator, and it's something that I highly recommend you do as often as possible. Minimum viable products are the real reason we do brainstorming. It's extremely important. If you haven't caught up and you haven't seen the tip video about brainstorming, you want to jump in there and watch it. Make sure that you're ready for this episode to understand why minimum viable products, or MVPs, are important. If you're new to the series or you haven't been here in a bit, we're currently structuring our tip videos alongside development of an actual game, so that way you can learn as we go. This is the current planned releases for Jump Combo, the end result of my MVP planning. If you want to see this, it's about halfway through the video. My name is RayBenefield. Releasing stuff is one of my special interests, and today we're going to talk about how you can release your new game faster and also reduce stress while you're at it. If you're watching this, you know games are passion projects, and as a result, if they're not managed well, you're gonna suffer something called feature creep. While you're building out your game, you're gonna have constant new ideas that you're going to want to build. It's tempting. This is an extremely tempting thing, and I don't want you to get trapped in it. You can be in an endless loop of delaying your release because you want to release with this new feature. Don't do that. Part of the reason why brainstorming is so important is because we take that feature creep later in the process and we move it to the beginning where it's less costly. You want to avoid feature creep in the future and try to build out at least your feature creep early on. Now, feature creep is still dangerous, but brainstorming is still important. And if you just brainstorm and you just have a ton of ideas, if you're brainstorming properly, you're still going to run into a problem where you have too much to build. Interesting enough, it was like a month ago where we talked about applying theories, and we slightly covered all of the different solutions that you can do to prevent things like feature creep taking over your game and ruining your ability to grow as a creator. Good news is you're not alone. Feature creep is not something that just exists in games. It exists in software as well, and they have a methodology that will help you jump over this massive hurdle. In software, we solve this by committing to what we call a minimum viable product, or an MVP. An MVP is basically you asking yourself and being serious, what is the actual minimum amount of features that I need to show off my vision, to show that my vision has value? I want you to take some time and consider all of the games that you've played in the past. How long did it take you to figure out that a bad game was bad? You have 1 to maybe 3 minutes to grab somebody's attention, and you don't have that much time to show stuff. You don't have time to showcase your amazing cosmetics. You don't have time to show people the conflict in your story. All amazing features aside of your game, what is the soul? What is the essence that you're trying to give? This is your minimum viable product. 1 to 5 features that absolutely matter. To solve feature creep, we split up features into stages of releases. The most important being your MVP. This is your first public release. It needs to be small. It needs to be impactful. Even for a simple game, like the game that I'm building right now, Jump Combo, for tutorial purposes, will grow in a massive amount of features. The proof of concept is already done. I'm going to show that tomorrow. Then I'm working on a prototype to give to family and friends to quickly test the idea. The next is an MVP that's going to be published unlisted, and I'm going to share that through these YouTube videos. From there, I'm going to publish a first kind of practice update, so that way I can get a feel for it while it's unlisted. Then I'm going to push for a public release by the end of November, so I can submit it to the November challenges for core. And then after that, I'm going to do the first update, which will be my choice of features. And then from then on, I am going to do voting-based updates. Speaking of Jump Combo, let's jump in, and I'm going to show you my process going from lots of ideas to minimum viable product and a set plan of releases. I actually have a ton of them planned. I start by reviewing the mind map that we made yesterday, and then I also go over some of the brain dump stuff, and then I start planning out the releases. This is Miro's user story map tool. Basically, the blue cards at the top are what your user is supposed to experience. and it's different parts of the concept. The key features that I want to focus on for Jump Combo first are have fun jumping, vote for feature development, invest in development, showcase jump skills, and benefit from development. The yellow cards below the blue cards are features that need to be implemented to create that experience for the user. These are features like voting for a feature, or nailing the jump mechanics, or setting up the user interface, things that we have to focus on to build in the future. Remember, the goal here is minimum. Things like cosmetics are bonus. The gray cards below are the tasks that need to be done to implement each feature. These are important, and right now we're only using them to essentially be a placeholder for plan that feature for this release. I start out by saying what's the most important features, and then I move the plan cards accordingly to respective releases. I originally started out with an MVP and what's called a backlog. That's the bottom row. It's basically features that you don't want to schedule for a release yet. We are looking for real value, not empty value. You want value that you can't get anywhere else. So I find like 7 features, and what I realize is that I want to break this up a little bit more. So eventually I get a prototype release set up before the MVP. I set up an initial test release right after the MVP, and then I do a public release right after that, and followed by a initial my choice release that's not based on voting. If it's not extremely apparent, the rows are different releases. The reason I do this is I want to make sure that I only have 2 main features per release to focus on, so that way they're small and compact. And then after that, all the voting features will be based around 1 feature implemented per release. With all that done, we now know exactly what we have to work on and when we have to work on it. The entire project of Jump Combo is being done publicly with a brain dump, a mind map. My public release schedule is there. It's all on Miro, and you can get it through the link below. It's actually really cool. It's like an infinite real-time collaborative whiteboard. I've been using it for like 5 years. It's amazing. Used to be called real-time board. If you need additional help planning for an MVP, consider every game that you do a submission for a game jam. It's super important to validate your game idea before spending months on it. Even story-based games can benefit from an MVP because a good story keeps you wanting more, no matter the step that you're at. So use your MVP to validate your story and your idea, and if you're doing it right, people will want more. If you have to say, well, they just haven't gotten to the good part yet, they're not going to want to stick around long enough for the good part. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about proof of concepts, and I'm going to share the current proof of concept that I have for Jump Combo. I'm excited for that. And I think after that, we're going to jump right into prototype planning or prototype development. I haven't quite decided yet. I think probably planning after the proof of concept. I'll see you tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed. If you're at the end of this video, you probably care and like my content. So please go down to the description below and sign up for a core account if you haven't yet. I am part of the affiliate program, and it would be a huge help to me, and you're going to want to playtest Jump Combo anyway, right? See you tomorrow.